Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're going to talk about the science of selling home care. And the first thing we're going to do today, we did a little housekeeping, so I know you can hear me and see me, and I know we're recording. So we are going to talk introductions next. And I want to just quickly introduce myself because I'm really not the person that is the star of the show today. It's these other lovely ladies, and Annette, who is our main trainer. She is amazing, who are going to talk about themselves and their experience. I'm Valerie Van Boeven. I'm the co-owner of Approved Senior Network. I'm a registered nurse, and I've had every role and job as a nurse you could possibly imagine. And yeah, but 18 years ago or 17 years ago, I started Approved Senior Network, or at that time it was called LTC Expert Publication. So I'm old. I love digital marketing. It's my game. It's my thing. It's my thing I love to do. And these ladies, however, are amazing at sales in home care. So we're going to talk to them. Annette, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Don't say too much because I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions.
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Annette Ziegler, and I have been with ASN in about a week or so. It's going to be a year. Woohoo! Went by quick. I've been in home care, not to age myself either, 20 plus years. I teach the sales training courses here, and I just love what I do.
Yay. And Dawn?
Yes, hi, I'm Dawn Fiala. I've also been in home care for a long time, and I will be here 3 years in May. So that's also coming up, and it has just flown by. I love working with all of the home care agencies. We are always helping them with just about everything, not just digital marketing, feet on the ground. How do I hire? Why are my caregiver applicants poor quality lately? Like, we are an all-in-one, help you as much as we can. And I love my job. I miss home care sometimes, but I get enough of it with you guys. Thank you for being here today. You're going to learn quite a bit. Lisa, you're up.
Oh,
Yay,
hey,
it's Lisa.
am I unmuted? Okay, hi. I'm Lisa. I've been here for 2 years. And before this, I had two different loves. One was it was newspaper and the internet came around, and then I learned internet advertising as well as home care. I did everything and anything in home care imaginable, from client care to marketing to 3 a.m. shifts, you name it. I've been in the trenches of home care, and I just love home care. I really love being a part of it every day with you guys, no matter what it is. And I really love watching the growth and all of that. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me and looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so now I'm just going to say this. I didn't put a lot of work in this PowerPoint because it's really about the voices on the screen and the people that are going to talk to you. So look at this dingy AI. It said history, and it gave me world history. We're not as old as people in Mesopotamia, but we will talk about history a little bit. All right, and all of you can answer this. We're going to start with Annette.
Sure.
And because she is the person that almost everybody talks to, or everybody does talk to if they go through sales training, along with Lisa and Dawn. But tell us about your history with selling home care, who you worked for, how it started.
Okay, so actually, it started back in 2004. There was a really large CCRC that was continuum care community that was being built right around the corner from my house. I used to drive by it often. It was not built yet. They had a big trailer, and I was always in marketing. Senior living always interested me. My parents had me older in life and younger with my children. I had to take care of them. So I went through a lot, moving hospice, moving to assisted living. So it interested me. So I started working for, it was called Cherry Ridge. It was a St. Anne's community, a very large community here in upstate New York, as their marketing representative. And I actually started in the trailer, and looking out the window, it was just land, and this community was going to be built, but they would not build it until we sold a certain amount. So we had cottages, independent living apartments, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and we had to sell a certain amount of people, to have a certain amount of people sign up before they can even start building. So fast forward, they built the whole community. They finally built a couple cottages, and then we moved in the cottage, and that was my office. It was beautiful. And I worked there for 13 years. I was in the marketing. I moved people in independent living, assisted living, memory care. And during my tenure there, I referred home care agencies constantly to help these residents that needed extra assistance. And then it was, like I said, I was there about 13 years and I wanted to do something different. And I connected with a home care agency that I used often at this community. And the owner offered me a position as the community liaison marketing manager. So I started there and I worked for this home care agency for about 7.5 years. I helped them grow from 1 million to 4 million. It really helped me when I moved into that role because I knew I had a lot of connections. I knew what senior living was all about. And again, having older parents, I understood about needing home care and so forth. Trying not to go too long-winded, but I just so you can understand my history. I really love home care. I liked working in a CRC, but it's so nice to see people age in place at home, wherever home may be, but to have them stay at home and live in their house and see all their treasures and be able to stay there and get the care they need. That's really where my heart was. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. And I knew you had such an amazing history with all of this, but I never heard the whole story. And that's lovely to have. You've got a lot of tenure in all these places that you've worked. So that's awesome. So
I
Dawn,
understand it all.
yeah, you've seen everything.
Seen
So
it all.
Dawn or Lisa, how long did you guys work in home care?
I was at Home Instead Senior Care. We were the #1 office for 10 years. Started in sales, outside sales, community liaison, and then was promoted to operations manager. And we grew by millions and millions of dollars. There were probably 1,000 offices when I left there across the country and even in other parts of the world. And more recently, an independent home care agency who couldn't get the private pay side. They had a pretty good Medicaid side. As we know, the margins aren't great with Medicaid, so they were trying to break into the private pay. And we did get to about 3.5 million in under 4 years in private pay. So in that company, I was over recruiting, retention, and sales. And so we grew quite quickly, and all the things that worked for me through the years, we are doing in the sales training class. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right, Lisa.
For me, gosh, it started way back when I was a little kid. I want to say I have that story that people bring up that I lived with my grandmother. And so I saw firsthand what she needed, and I did a lot of those things as a little kid. And from there, it just was built into where I knew I've always been I want to take care of people and I want to help, right? But then I was like, I also want to help in these other ways where we can grow. And so I worked for quite a few smaller boutique style agencies to help them get from the ground up. And then I've also worked for a couple of different franchises as far as the marketing or the branch manager, or just again doing just everything, especially when you're building from the ground up. When you're starting a new business, I've done all of that. So getting it to where it's established and then branching out to new locations and things like that. All of that stuff, super fun. It's all a part of things that I love to do. So yeah, started when I was a little one.
Yeah. So you have 100 years worth of knowledge right here.
Yeah, and in home care, it's rapid speed by fire too. It's not just it's just really fast. Everything is very fast paced, so it's even more than that probably. One day feels like a week.
Oh yeah,
Home care for sure.
definitely.
I always say I'm 200 years old in nurse years.
It's the same thing.
It's more than dog years for sure.
For sure.
Oh yeah. So what do you think made you a great home care community liaison, Miss Annette?
I would say I have compassion, I have empathy. I loved helping seniors. I loved helping families. Loved helping people solve their problems and helping them, providing them with home care. I've always been a very mission driven person. I like to succeed, and I loved the drive and making sure that I was helping our agency grow with lots of referrals. So I really had a drive in me that excited me. If somebody called me with referrals, for a skilled nursing facility called me, I would be there. I would make it happen. So I think, and also too, I was able to multitask in this kind of business. Things change day by day, hour by hour. I think because I was able to accept that and realize that I could be doing one thing and get a call for a 24/7. And I was able to switch what I was doing and help people. So I think I had everything that I needed to make me succeed. And I really did. I really loved what I did. I loved meeting the families. I think what I loved the best was meeting our clients that we signed up and hearing their stories. That was one of my favorite things, doing the assessments on our clients.
Yeah, you gotta love this business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Really do. And Dawn, what made you, I think I know what made you great home care community liaison. You're very organized and you're very, and it gets, I know that. But
That is true. I'm very whatever that is. I have a lot of that. For sure. I can say though, for the social workers and the people that you're going to meet out in the community, for those of you that are doing this right now, you can't come off like a used car salesman. You have to be driven. You have to have that sales ability to make it, but you also have to have a love for the mission because
Right.
that's what keeps you going. And when they see that heart come out and you can sell, that's a win. That it's the two things combined. You can't fake it in this business. If it's just about the money and the paycheck and the commission, they're going to see right through that and they're not going to refer to you. They need to see your heart and your passion. And the fact that you are willing to drive 15 miles to go meet with a family right now, because all of a sudden they're discharging today at 4 o'clock and it was supposed to be 3 days from now. The fact that you'll do that, not because of the commission and the money, but because you want this person to come home with a caregiver and to have a successful discharge. You're a part of the successful discharge that social worker is counting on. And whatever drives you to do that, they need to see the mission and the passion for the business and the care for the seniors in order for you to be a really great community liaison. And you need to juggle, as Annette said, it's the multitasking. I hired somebody in my early days, maybe one of the first marketers I hired, didn't really know what I was doing yet. And she literally spun in a circle in the office. Like she didn't know there were like three things to do and she didn't know, what do I do first? So the multitasking, you're balancing a bunch of stuff over here and you're on the phone and you're just running. That's adrenaline. That's fun for me. I thought it was fun. There's other people that can't succeed in that environment at all. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what helped me. I really did have I still have a strong passion for the industry and the seniors and their well-being. And they've earned the right to stay home if that's what they want. I feel like they've aged. They've done all the right, maybe they didn't do everything right. Maybe they're not eating well. I don't know, but they've earned the right after all of these years to call the shots as long as it's safe to do so.
exactly.
Definitely.
That's great. And Lisa,
I agree with all of those things that you guys are saying. I have like super high ADHD, and that's what helped me just be able to juggle. But in anywhere, I just floated around. That's Dawn's like deep. Mine is like floating around like a little butterfly everywhere. I don't know how I can describe it. I just got to know everyone and build relationships. And I think the secret is knowing that little detail that no one else would remember about
yeah,
people. That always helps me. And I truly care about whatever it is, whether it's getting the senior home, making sure that they have a good caregiver, not just a caregiver, but a great caregiver, and just talking to people like I would want to be talked to, treated that way. So I think that resonates with people, just being real, getting in where you fit in and just figuring it out from there.
yeah, absolutely. And detail is that's a golden nugget right there. Pay attention to detail. And Lisa's a master at that. I got a lemon meringue pie for my birthday. Who knows that? Who does that? Who knows
It's
that I love lemon meringue pie? We don't work in the same office every day.
You
But
mentioned it for a brief split second and she's a community liaison. She caught into it and went for it. That's part of the
Absolutely.
talent.
and she ordered it, and then she had somebody else on the team deliver it to my house. Oh my God, I was like, what? And it was so good. Anyway,
I'm
so
glad.
no, okay, all right, great. All right, okay. We're going to talk a little bit about trust here. And all of this that we're talking about we are going to talk about at the end here what sales efforts and some more tangible things, but everything these ladies are telling you are the skills, the attitude, the place you need to be in, or that you need your salesperson to be in order to really close the deals. So thinking back, what were the events and efforts that you think made the most difference in building trust with referral sources? So things that you organized, things that you did, what was it that really helped? Just think of one or two things that helped them believe in you. And Go ahead. I'm not even going to
Well,
interject it.
for like events, having in-services and lunch and learns, having them understand what we offer and how we can be there in a split second, come to see their patients on the same day that they're discharging, showing them, always being available, letting them know this job, it's really not 9 to 5. You do get calls sometimes after 5 or on the weekends. If they call you and they're in an emergency situation, that you're going to be there and you're going to help them with their patients, their residents, and do whatever it takes. But I think having them see you in action, how quickly you can sign up a patient, letting them see you help this patient go home with the services before they're discharged from, say, a rehab, a hospital, and them seeing you in action, I think builds the trust, and always being a good communicator, I think, with your referral sources.
Like taking those Friday discharges, those Friday afternoon discharges that nobody else will call back, but you'll take
So,
them
yep,
at least.
4 o'clock on a Friday or on a weekend. I'll tell you, myself and our scheduler, it was like we thrived on it. They would call and we would make it happen. And it was just exciting. Sometimes we were able to get there, have a caregiver there in an hour or two. That's amazing. They had maybe they had a resident come home to an assisted living that was in rehab, and they were really unsteady on their feet and they didn't know how they were going to make it on the weekend. So they called me. I made it happen and I solved their problem. But I was happy to do that. And that's part of the business. And then by doing that, I was on speed dial. They called me on my cell phone because they knew if they call me on a Friday or a weekend, I was going to answer and I was going to help them.
And
I
Dawn?
think, yeah. So I think if I were watching this, I would be thinking, how do you get them to think of you on a Friday? Or how do you get the trust for them to even try the first time? And so there are 5 impressions to get them to trust you. We have it down to a science now. And a lot of it is about the relationship you're building. You're building a foundation of a relationship, not a one and done. It's about consistency. It's about reliability. It's about being different. You have to have a real differentiator, not my staff stays till the job's done. So what? My caregivers really care about the clients. They all say that. You have to have something that really makes you stand out. It could be your caregiver training. It could be your backup plan. If a caregiver calls out, that's a negative thing, but you can make it a positive thing. People get sick, it's life. It could be all kinds of things, but you have to have a differentiator to get in the door in the first place so that you can build trust. The kind of trust you need is deep embedded trust. If you have a caregiver in their building doing an overnight awake and that caregiver falls asleep, your relationship should be so good that they pull you aside and say, hey, your caregiver last night, she fell asleep. And you should be able to bounce back from that. That's the kind of relationship you need. And it's about being consistent. You have to go every 8 to 10 days. There has to be some sort of contact with that referral source every 8 to 10 days. It's not going to be a face-to-face every time. Once a month, you get a face-to-face. What are you going to do in between? It can't be a brochure. You have to have a leave behind, something important, something that matters, something fun, something different. So there's a lot going on with this to get that trust built. So I think it's just for me, it's the consistency, the reliability, and just always being there, being respectful of their time. Don't be a plopper. I had a referral source call me about marketers, and she's a plopper. I don't want her coming in and plopping down in front of my desk and just sitting there. I have to work late now because she sat here for 20 minutes. Don't sit unless they ask you. Be respectful of their time. Don't expect and make them come out and see you every time you come into the building. So it's just a mutual respect, and they need to start seeing you as a partner more than a vendor or referral source, someone who is a home care source for them. They need to see you as a partner. They're the social worker expert and you're the home care expert. Someone needs home care, I'm calling her. That's what I would say.
Lisa Marsolet,
I
you haven't.
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree with all of that. I just letting someone see you in action is just a really big deal. If they see you and they see you just handled everything, like they're going to come back to you always. They're going to trust you. So I agree with everything you guys said for sure.
Yeah, that is, I've heard this enough times now that I know all of that is true. I think consistency is where some folks start falling off the
Yep.
mark, and that is one thing that We all,
And I can tell you here in the summer and probably in other places in the winter, no one's outside. Like it's miserable. That's when you go. That's when you're going to get in and get to see them. It's Christmas week. Go. No one else is going in there. You want to
Right.
face to face with your social worker? Go when no one else is going. Like that consistency and that always being there. And it works because when I wasn't there for a week because I was on vacation, guess what? Phones were dead the next week. Dead. Crickets because I left for a week. That's how quick it changes. You have to go every week. And if you go on vacation, you tell them ahead of time, I will be gone, but I am coming back. And you double time it and get in front of everybody right when you get back. It's that quick because they have people coming in behind you saying the same things and maybe better things sometimes and dropping off something better. Maybe they brought them donuts. Maybe they did something that wowed them. Now they're going to get a shot, right? And then you've got to earn your way back in. So you got to go consistently, especially when nobody else is going.
great.
And I think that's a differentiator too, people that are consistent, because I would bet that probably 20% actually are consistent going back all the time. And so
Yeah.
Right.
those are that's your real competition, is those people who are just like you. They
And you
want it just
see
as
their
bad as
stuff.
you.
You see their brochure.
Right.
Oh, I saw her stuff last week. What are we following each other? You start to know real quickly who your stiff competitors are. You just have to find a way to stand out.
All right, great stuff. Great nuggets of wisdom. If you were starting all over again today, what would be your first priority of the week or of the month? So what do you do first, right out of the gate?
So brand new, just starting this position. I would qualify referral sources in my area, making map out, see who's out there, who would be, where I would get private pay referrals, mapping out all different types of referral sources that I would see in my area, make sure I have a community presence, connect with maybe referrals sources that I already know, thinking about what my agency, think just like Dawn said, you have to have a differentiator. So thinking about how I can present our agency and that it could be different from the 10 different home care agencies that I had competition with. Why are they going to listen to me? Why am I different? How can we help? So I think that's what I would do. Yeah.
Dawn?
I would qualify my referral sources. There's a Medicare website. You can go on and look at all the SNFs in your area, anyone getting paid by Medicare, and see what they're all about. I would do that first. I would build myself a route sheet. I would make sure I had a really good elevator speech with a differentiator. I'd make sure I could roll that off my tongue in my sleep if need be. And then I would hit the SNF. If all I had time to do was go to SNFs, because there's a lot here in Phoenix where I'm at, lots and lots of them, that is where I would be spending a majority of my time. Skilled nursing facilities, get to know them. When I get someone face to face, get a lunch and learn scheduled, because I may never see their face again. They're very hard to get in front of. Get in front of them, schedule that lunch and learn, and you're golden. It's harder than that. But if I were starting over knowing what I know now, that is where I would start.
Perfect. Lisa, anything to add to that? Are you floating around like a butterfly?
I'm floating. I was gonna say I would just case the joint. Make sure I know what everyone else is doing. My competitors are doing too out there.
Oh yes, call them.
Shop. Yep. I
Secret
might
shop.
shop them a little bit, and then I'm going to set up a plan of who are my top 25 that I'm going to go out to right now. SNFs for sure, Medicare.gov also for sure, just to compare and see what I'm dealing with and just create that route. When I first started, I remember a lady that I worked with said, you can't just be pinging around like this. You got to create. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Let me create this.
Sort your referral sources by zip code. Do it now. Do it now. Because if you're over here, I'm going to talk about where I am. If I'm in Phoenix and I'm marketing and I'm getting it, like I'm being real successful, it's going really well. And then I get a call in Mesa. Can you come talk to this family? They're discharging tomorrow. I'm going to drop everything and go talk to the family in Mesa. Not only because it's incentive, but it's because it's the right thing to do. This person's got to have care when they get home. And this is your opportunity to prove yourself. See the social worker on your way in to see that family. I'm done with the family. It's 1 o'clock. Am I going to drive all the way back to Phoenix to keep marketing? No. I'm going to pull up my zip code locator and I'm going to look for all the SNFs or my referral sources in Mesa by zip code, and I'm going to keep marketing there. Like Lisa said, the back and forth is so inefficient such a waste of time. It really, and gas and everything. It really is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lisa, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that is
Oh,
a really good
that is perfect. And I think we're good.
point.
Cool. All right. That's a great answer. Oh, Annette, you've been training community liaisons for almost a year now. I guessed at that and I was right because it's about a
Yeah.
week away. What makes this the greatest job ever? So what and
And
the reason I ask that is because you get to see seasoned folks, you get to see owners, you get to see brand new people. What is it about training others that is just, I know you like this and it's a wonderful thing to do for others.
I think because I was a community liaison too, I love seeing them grow and learn and get referrals. It is a great job. You're you're not in an office 9 to 5. You're out meeting people, you're helping families, you're building lasting relationships with referral sources. To this day, I am still friends with some social workers from back in the day when I worked as a community liaison that we have become close friends with. Families that I actually had a family call me last week that I helped when they lived in the senior living. You're building lasting relationships. You're a problem solver. Every day is different. In the sales training, we have new community liaisons, we have experienced community liaisons. The exciting thing that I see is if I have somebody really experienced that we're in a class and I teach them something that they're like, wow, I never thought about that. I've been doing this for years. I didn't know that we could do bed sitting at a skilled nursing home. I never went to that side of the nursing home. And also seeing these community liaisons, usually by halfway through our sales training, if they're doing everything we say, they're getting referrals. So it's exciting. They're setting up lunch and learns, they're setting up meetings. But it's a great job if every day is different, you have to go with the flow. If you like meeting people, and I think again, like helping people, like Lisa, Dawn, we all said you have to have that compassion and not be, it's good to have some sales ability, of course. You want to like seal the deal, but you don't want to be a salesy. You want to, they have to see that you care first and that you're passionate about helping people. And everybody that comes through the classes, we have all different types of people. And it's really exciting, especially the community liaisons that we have that come to our classes that are maybe they've never done this before. They've never been marketing ever. They're afraid. They're like, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. We give you all the tools. We tell you what to say. And I just always remind everybody, you're not trying to talk them into something they don't need. Everybody needs home care that you're talking to, their patients, their residents. So you're not trying to walk in and sell them something they don't need. So just most people in home care, they're casual, they're nice. It's just a great job, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I think being a problem solver
Yeah.
is one of the best. I don't know, it gives you a good feeling when you're able to do that for families,
Helping them.
social worker,
Absolutely.
or whoever. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. I know you ladies, I'm going to try to go to the next question so we don't run out of too much time here. Let's see. Oh, this is a great one. All right. Can you tell pretty quickly if someone's going to be great at this job? I think you guys know, what the traits are. So talk about you've already talked about why you were a great community liaison, but how can you identify that in others? And I think this question is not only for the person who might be in that role, but for someone who is looking to hire a person for this role. How can you tell that they're going to be great at this job?
I would say you usually could tell pretty quickly. You can't be really shy or afraid or be unapproachable. If you can't overcome that, it's going to be a little hard for you because it's really boots on the ground. You're getting out there, you're asking to talk to the social worker or your referral source. So you have to be not too shy. You have to be okay with that. And I think somebody personable, that's likable, not too pushy, pleasantly persistent. We say pleasantly persistent.
That's my word. I love that
I
word.
got that from Dawn. It's so true. It's so true because you have to you don't want to be that pushy car salesman. Of course you don't want to be, but you have to be pleasantly persistent. And sometimes you got to know when it's right to go after that client maybe a little further or reaching out to that social worker and saying, I really do think this client is okay for us. Let me come and see him. Maybe pursuing that a little more. But if I would say, I don't know, Dawn, if you agree with me, about 3 months or so, I would say you can tell if
Yeah.
somebody's going to
I
Give her a
think you can
break.
tell. And Annette's good at this because people have been in the sales training class and she'll say, Dawn, this person's just not, they're not cut out for this. And then I have to call the owner and tell the owner, guess what? It hasn't happened a lot, but she tells me, and why waste money on a community liaison and the cash flow of paying that person if it's not going to work out? And when I call the owner, I think it's happened. Like, we have the same reservation. Thank you so much for letting us know. Because not everybody's cut out for this. And this is a twofold job. It's not just out cold calling and marketing, which is difficult. It's also selling that senior and the adult children when it's time to sign up for the job. And sometimes, most of the time, you are piggybacking with the adult child to convince mom or dad. This is the scenario. And so you have to get a little, you want to fall again, Mr. Smith? You have to keep bathing. You can't stop bathing. Your daughter just wants us to make sure you're safe while you're in the shower. Let's not fall again. How many times do you bathe a week? Sometimes you have to make sure that it's okay to be that way, but there is that compassion that has to come through for the betterment of the client. And when a social worker, you come back and say, yeah, Mr. Smith signed up 3 days a week, blah, blah, blah. And she's, I can't believe you did that. He's going to fall in the shower again. Of course I signed him up. So sometimes they're counting on you to be the person that can get this senior to see the reality of their new life right now. And maybe it's not a permanent change, but maybe it is. And so the fact that they can give you a referral and you can make it happen, also, it makes their job easier. It makes the adult children's job easier. So that's a piece of it too, is being able to be in charge when you need to be in charge. I'd say that's a big piece of it as well.
Yeah, and I so agree. If you're meeting with that senior, you're signing them up, and they're refusing. We don't want you to just walk out and close the door. Sometimes you have to make compromises. If I had somebody that I knew they were not going to sign, I'd say, you know what, let's make a deal. How about we try this for 2 weeks? Why don't we just try it for 2 weeks? Let's see how that works. And you know what? They agreed to that. And then after 2 weeks, maybe they said, no, I still don't want it. Okay. But many times they said, you know what? It's going okay. And we like that Susie you've sent. Or
I don't know. I don't remember life before Susie. It's so much better. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Getting them to just try it for a couple of weeks. Although the schedulers didn't like when I did that.
Yes.
They didn't. I'm like, I promise it'll be good.
True.
It'll stay. They'll stay. But yeah, having to be able to do that. And I've had things thrown at me. Get out of my room. I'm not talking to you now. I'm like, okay, I'll come back when you're ready. You have to have thick skin too. I would say that's another piece of this. I don't want to see the likes of you here again, because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that they need someone to go home with them. Anyway, I would say that's a big piece of it too, is knowing when you have to be firm and really just point out the obvious, and when you can't. There are some situations where you just can't. So.
Lisa, any other words of wisdom about being great? Someone who's going to be great at this job, you can tell, because they're a social butterfly.
Yeah, I agree with everything they were saying for sure. Just being able to be very fluid. I feel like you just have to be able to weave in and out. I don't know any other way to say that. You just have to take the punches as they come and know what to give back and know how to deal with anything at any time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely roll with the punches. That's a good one. All right, let's see what else I got here. What would you look for? We just talked about this actually. What would you look for if you were hiring a community liaison today? I think we've answered that. Someone who is willing to take charge a little bit, someone who isn't shy, and will have those hard conversations with families. I think I can remember as a case manager, but saying, or a care manager saying, talking to the senior about that their daughter or son was really worried about them. And when the senior would hear those words, they don't want their family to worry about them. They definitely don't. So maybe implementing a few services or trying this for a couple of weeks is a great idea. So anyway, just being able to talk the talk and help the senior and the family understand this doesn't have to be forever, but let's get you through the next couple of weeks or through the next month or so and see how you're doing. And then we can reevaluate from there, that kind of thing. And let's see here. Okay, what's the best advice for getting a referral quickly? You have to be willing to do what? And we've talked about some of this, consistency, but if you really you're starting out and you get a referral quickly, what are some things that you would tell somebody to do? Get that in-service scheduled, or that, how are you getting that referral
I
quickly?
think the very first thing is they have to know that they're going to step out of their comfort zone
Right.
and they're going to be really uncomfortable for a while. For a while, like 5 in services in, they're still going to be uncomfortable. And there's a new building or a new social worker, even if you've been doing this for 2 or 3 years, you still get a little nervous because is it going to work this time? Am I going to get in this time? Is it going to happen? So I think being willing to step out of your comfort zone and knowing you're going to live there for a while, that's what it takes.
Until you build those relationships.
Yes, and it doesn't happen overnight. And
Right.
it can take 5, 6, 7 times before you even get to talk to the social worker. And that is totally normal.
I'd say being confident without being pushy is also
Mhm.
like pleasantly persistent. I think
Yes.
that is a great way to get that.
And if you have your differentiator, you know what it is, and you know that it's a meaningful one, you lean into that. When they say, I'm working with these XYZ home care agencies, I don't need another one. Yeah, you do. You don't know about me. You don't know about this agency and what we do that's different. So you do need to hear about what I'm doing. And it needs to, so when whatever that is, it's got to be worthwhile, right? Because you've just said, hold the phone, listen to me. I have something different for your patients. It better be something really different.
What
'Cause
is it?
that's how you're
What
going to
is it?
get past them. Huh?
What is it that's different?
It could
I
be
think, we find
caregiver.
that home care agencies have a hard time
They
figuring.
do have a hard time with the differentiator. It can be your caregiver training. It can be your backup plan. It could be, we had a lead caregiver program, so we could start service in an hour if we needed to. God, I'm trying to think of other things that I have done as differentiators. We had a discharge package. Invented all kinds of rapid response program. So if you
Yeah.
call my office and you say I have a rapid response, you talk to nobody but the person who's coming out to sign that client up immediately. Like
Right.
we've reinvented ourselves a million times, but it
Yes.
needs to be important to the senior. It needs to be something that the discharge planner is going to go, oh, my seniors will value. A discharge packet is beautiful. That's a great way to get a discharge package. That's all they do is discharges all day long. When you say the word discharge package and the senior likes it and buys into it, you're golden. But there has to be something.
Yeah, I think that's tough for a lot of folks, but I also think discharge package is one I think you guys teach and talk
Mhm.
about, and it works really well.
With a
I
flat
also,
rate. And we talk about that in sales training too. Yeah.
yep, and that's a great one. I also think that spending a little more money to get everybody dementia certified, or pick your poison, whichever one, whichever
Mhm.
thing you think is most important, but doing dementia live training, there's a million of them out there. And making sure your caregivers are all, or some subset of them that deal with dementia clients, are all trained specifically. Or maybe it is that you specialize in 24-hour care. Maybe you specialize in live-in and 24-hour care. Whatever it is, come up with something. And I know in sales training class, we talk about that. And don't people come back to you and tell you what their differentiators are? They try to come up with something during.
Give them
Yeah,
one
we
that's
give
Oh,
them.
but some of them do have their own, but we do give them one that works quite well as well.
that's awesome. All right. Who are the people in the office? I think this is often overlooked. Who should be the salesperson's biggest supporters, owners, schedulers? What kind of relationships helped you close more sales? I would say that's the real question there.
I would say every single person in that office, if you're out on the road all day, you're not in operations, if you're a full-time marketer out on the road, which I was, and they're in the office going crazy, but you might have to call at a minute's notice, and that scheduler has to be able to help you immediately. The owner, the care manager, the executive director, the office that I worked in, we were a team, and we all worked together. And if I wasn't out there getting business and they weren't able to fill the shifts and they didn't hire caregivers, we wouldn't have a business. So I think my biggest supporters was everybody in the office. We had a really good connection. And if I didn't, like I said, if I didn't get the business, or if our HR person did not hire caregivers, if our scheduler wasn't doing well at the scheduling, nothing would work. And also our owner was very involved. And I think it's really important when you have an owner that is involved and that is even willing to go do a shift if they have to. Once in a great while, we would all do shifts, but I would say, I think everybody, I don't know if Dawn and Lisa agree or.
Yeah, I agree. I think everybody too, because when you're out in the field all day, some days you just get beat up all day long. You do. You just feel completely destroyed from your visits. It just, no one would let you in. They looked at you like, oh God, here she is again. And you are getting beat up and you do need their support. The worst thing that ever happened to me was I had been working in an area called Sun Lakes. Very tough to break into. It's very community, deep root community. We even had to get a phone number with the prefix of Sun Lakes to just get them to take our calls. Very community. And I finally got a job. I got a referral, went out, signed it. I was so excited, called the scheduler, and she goes, oh God, how am I going to ever get that staffed? We don't have caregivers out there. And it was so deflating. And she
Yes.
always reacted that way. And I finally went to the owner. I'm like, I'm out here killing myself and I'm
Right.
excited. Like, I need her to be fake it if you're not excited. Just fake it for me. Like I needed a high five so bad that day and I did not get one. It was a slap in the face. It was so bad. So your schedulers, even though they're stressed and they're like, today, right now, I have to find someone now. Like it needs to be a team because every part affects the other.
Right.
Recruiting, marketing, scheduling, they all affect one another and they all have to be moving at the same speed, same momentum constantly and supporting one
I,
another. Because
yeah,
the jobs are easy.
definitely. I'd like to just add that working in a company where there was no one else but myself and the owner versus working where and this is probably where I learned how to be able to schedule on the fly and also do my client care duties and also go out and shake some hands, right? So being able to have that support, oh man, what a weight off of your shoulders to be able to go, okay, I'm going to send you this synopsis over to my scheduler. This is what the person needs. This is what they want. I already have a caregiver in mind, but being able to push that over to someone and get that support is huge. It's like night and day. And I've experienced both sides. So it's definitely everyone in the office, but that scheduler, client care, and really helpful to have that support.
Mhm.
Yeah. Being able to call your office and instead of, we actually had a client care coordinator once. She didn't stay long, but she'd go, we're not taking them. They're too hard or something like that. I'm like,
Oh,
wait a minute. I just got this referral. We are going to make it work. Let's go
they
see
just
them.
trusted me enough to send me a referral and
Yes.
you're not taking it?
This
What?
was the first referral I had
The
from
first
this
referral
referral
has to
source.
happen, guys. Has to happen. The first referral
So
from
Oh
anyone
yeah,
has to
I'll
happen.
go myself.
yeah,
Exactly.
Right?
You
Oh my
finally earned
gosh.
enough trust for them to send you someone and you're going to say, oops, sorry, we
yeah,
can't snap it. No,
yeah.
Right.
you can't do that.
It sounds to me like if you're working with people who are burned out, have become toxic, and they just aren't the yes people that you need or the optimistic people that you need, then it might be time to definitely raise your hand and say something about, I'm working this hard and here's what's happening. I'm being defeated by my own team. And it's definitely worth speaking up and saying something about that because people do get burned out. Come on,
And
schedule.
scheduling's hard. I always understood why I got the reactions I got. And they're like, we told you we didn't have people in this
Right.
area. Why are you marketing over there? And I would say, I'm not marketing over there. The person in this SNF is staying 30 miles from their house. And now they're discharging to the area I was not marketing in. There's nothing I can do about that. We've got to make it work. I'm sorry. You don't always have control over that. They could be at a SNF 30 miles from their house and you're
Right.
marketing where you're supposed to be because you got caregivers over there and then they discharge home 30 miles away. You still have to make it work. And so I get that it's tough for scheduling. It's a tough job.
Oh, it is. If you have we had a great scheduler and I just think it's a tough job, but
Yeah.
everybody has to work together and it's just a team effort. You're out there getting that business and they have to, and I think that's how the best agencies I think that are the most successful is everybody working together and making it
Yep,
happen.
100%.
Yeah, and so I'm going to put a little commercial in here, but you guys have accumulated 40 or more video testimonials this year alone and not this year, in the last year alone. And they're amazing. They're amazing testimonials, you guys. And we have all of them. If you go to sellinghomecare.com/yes, our website address is much longer than that. But if you just go to sellinghomecare.com/yes, you can see those testimonials, the program description, So what these ladies are telling you is everything that they teach. And Annette is our lead trainer, and she's just so full of golden nuggets and great ideas. And I don't want to promise anything that's outside of the scope of what we do, but you guys even text back and forth with people who are having challenging days
All
and
day
things
long.
like that, right? Yeah, it's
Yes, of course.
I see them. They'll text Annette and say, "My lunch and learn is in an hour." And I know we went through it, but I have one quick question. And that girl is on the phone with them in seconds. Like Annette is diehard. She
Well,
is,
but I
she's,
do want to say too, like Dawn created this program and we all live in different states. And it's just amazing how when I saw the sales training, I was like, this is what I did. And it doesn't matter where you live, you may have different rules and regulations with your state, but it's all the same. It's establishing those relationships, being different from the other home care agencies. It's all about being there and having them see you. They need to see your face and you have to connect with them. And we teach that all. And it's nice to see everybody like by week 6, if people are following what we tell them to do, they're getting private pay referrals. They host lunch and learns in services. They've never done that before. So it's really exciting to see even somebody that's never done marketing before. You can have somebody with no marketing experience and they do phenomenal.
yeah.
So it's not like it's you if you have somebody that doesn't have any sales experience, I've seen people do very well that don't have sales experience.
Yep.
I think too, the reason that this works is because it's 90 days. I've trained lots of marketers in my time. It's not a one and done. It's not a one weekend boot camp. It's not even a week-long boot camp. They need, and this is what we do, we teach all about skilled nursing facility. This is exactly what you say, what you bring with you, what you can expect they're thinking about you. So you're ready for those objections when they come flying out of their mouth. You are ready to overcome them. We do all of that about skilled nursing, and then you go do it. And then you come back next week and we talk about it. And you not only get to, we deal with what happened with you, the good, the bad, the ugly. And we do the same with everybody in class, with 6 to 7 people. So you're learning from that. And then the next week we do the same thing for independent living. And then we do memory care. And so it's the back and forth and it's that mentorship. We hold you accountable with homework. It's that is making this work. It's not a one and done. It's impossible. One and done doesn't work with this. It's too involved and you can't anticipate everything that's going to happen. And so when you come back with something that's happened, you need help with what do I do? Just quit going there? Because that's what we want to do as humans. I just don't want to go back there ever again. That's not an option. So anyway, I think that's why it works.
I would totally agree with that. And just little things like, didn't somebody go to a skilled facility? She was brand new and she took them some kind of cookies from Starbucks, but the little bags weren't closed. They were
Yes.
the kind, like you stick the cookie
Fell out of
in.
the bag. Fell out of the bag.
Yeah, and the social worker had a complete fit about that, I think. So
Yes.
So she came back and we helped her with that. We walked her through that. She didn't quit going there. And we walked her through that problem. And Annette has people who have been through sales training and done that even reach out. This has happened. And we don't like just disappear. We want to help. That's who we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not
So-
strangers.
So we have training classes starting all the time. And the next 2 that are starting are April 15th and
Mhm.
April 30th. So when we say that, what we mean is that the April 15th class is every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You're going to have to calculate what your time zone is. And you meet once a week for 12 weeks.
And
at
it's
the
an hour each time.
Yes, for 1 hour. So wherever you are, hopefully somewhere quiet where you can listen and talk and it's small groups of people, and you are not in a class with someone who's a direct competitor of yours in the same territory. We try to make that very clear so that you don't have to feel like you can't talk about what you were doing or where you were because somebody else that's next door to you is also in the class. We don't do that. We're very careful about that. So it's a really nice way to have some colleagues once a week, and you're learning, but you're also like in counseling.
And
Once-
Jeffrey, I don't know if you know this, but they stay in touch with each other. The people that
Yes.
take in class together stay in touch with each other and they help each other. It's so exciting to see what's happened.
Yeah.
I just
And
love it.
Lisa helps me on the week 12. She's always in my week 12 classes and it's we've all grown to know each other more,
Yeah.
and usually they're always sad it's going to be over, but like Dawn said, people share their emails and their phone numbers. They're different agencies from different states, and also in the classes, they share, maybe they have a different way of doing things and something that's really worked for them.
Yeah.
I love how everybody shares their personal experiences. And it also, it gives, we have all different levels in our classes. When they see somebody that's doing really well and there's maybe somebody that's newer at this, I think it gives them more ambition to get out there and do better too.
I just made the screen all crazy. Woohoo! Let's see, where did I go? Oh no, everything's crazy. It's all gone. So
Okay.
anyway, hopefully we can see each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and what else was it? Oh, so we have two classes coming up, April 15th and 30th, and there'll be some more in May. And then also we have Continuum, which is twice a month. And we talk about all kinds of different things during Continuum, including digital and in-person sales. And Lisa creates handouts for 4 months in advance that you can take advantage of. They are not, she creates them, you have to customize them yourself, but you can do all of that. She gives you ideas for leave behinds. Everything is put together. So all you have to do is print it, get the goodies and go. You don't have to think about anything. Just have everything available to you. The Continuum is also a great way to stay in touch and stay involved. Or if you've never been through sales training, participate in that. You can sign up for that. So does anybody have any questions for any of these ladies about sales training, closing the deal? I think one of the things that people ask about is, or maybe people have trouble with, is asking for the referral. And that's sometimes tough to get past. So I think training really helps people get through all of those reservations.
Yep. I would think that is the hardest challenge probably is, well, being out of your comfort zone, but then asking for the referral can be difficult, but we work through all of that. There's a one-liner for every type of referral source.
Yeah. We have a
So.
whole class on that where, and it's pretty simple. Once we go through the class, they're like, oh, okay. I just ask if they have any patients discharging today. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. And then the social worker just starts thinking about everybody she has that you can help her with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. I think that's it. We've used our hour. We're like right on time. So thank you, ladies, for having a chat with me and for all the other folks that signed up to listen.
And then I just want to say Tamara has a question, but we can get back. We can
Yeah,
connect with you.
Okay.
I was just messaging her. We'll get back to her.
All right.
Thanks, Maria.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.